Oh, blimey,
Can you hear okay?
Eh?
Can you hear? Do you need any more volume?
No.
Right. You comfortable?
For the next half hour I will be. Not in life, no.
Did you want to push the music button? I've never let you do it.
Okay.
Would you like to push it?
There's new music.
No, it's the same old music.
Okay.
No.
What do I have to
You
do?
know the big button in the middle of the table that says music.
Oh,
music
but,
on
sorry,
it.
I hadn't said the red one.
Yeah. That one.
I actually pointed.
That's because it's there, Mark.
Yeah.
The one that I've never let you push.
Yeah.
You can push it if you want.
Go on then.
No, you do it.
Okay, I'm just nervous.
I do it every time.
All right, here we go.
Go.
It's not very
I can't believe
sensitive.
you actually did it.
Oh, you're going to put the music in?
Yeah.
I thought I was going to hear the music.
Would you like to hear the music?
It is mad that I actually moved my hand to press an invisible button for an audience that can't see. It's almost like a double negative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be visible.
Everyone saw it. Absolutely. Hello and welcome to episode 88 of I'm Fine, a chat around the subjects of health, wealth and well-being between myself, Damo, and my old mate Mark.
Hiya. Ba-dum-bum.
I mean, you're not old, you're just like an old mate.
I'm fairly old. I was speaking to somebody in the bank today. Number one, that was really brave of me.
What, to be in the bank or speak to someone?
Both.
Okay.
Katie. Shout out to Katie.
Hi, Katie. What bank was it? You're allowed to say?
Nat West.
Okay.
Yeah. I came away restored. I was there waiting to fume and to throw the pen that's tied to the desk across the room. Well, across the desk.
You reckon that's possible?
Yeah.
Throw it
Rebounds back and takes my eye out. But no, Katie and her colleague saved the day.
Oh, did they diffuse you? Did you get a little bit leery? Or did
I
you feel
was
the
ready
mist?
to. I was ready to. Because I was in public speaking to somebody, so I thought, this is going to end in a fight.
Right.
But no, it ended very well. And Katie and I, in about 45 minutes... I'd like you to meet Katie Damien.
What did it was? I mean, she's been so quiet since she came in.
She's got a fucking name badge on.
There could have been another Katie. It could have been.
Yeah.
I just
Actually, there is another Katie that I'm going to do a shout out to, but that's another matter. So this Katie,
yes,
in the 45 minutes while we were listening to, she had to ring Nat West. Although she's in Nat West, she had to ring Nat West.
That's really meta. Okay.
And so she put it on speaker because she knew it would take a while because of COVID, because no one can use phones.
Well, they can't pick one up. How did she ring? Did she push the buttons?
She pushed the button.
Just imagined it and it rang.
No. And so we're listening to this, and so
that's dangerous, isn't it?
What's that?
If someone someone answers and go, for fuck's sake, what now, Katie?
They wouldn't. They love Katie.
Oh right, cool. Sorry.
But in those 45 minutes, we talked about how far Katie had run last month.
Right.
We talked about cancelling, social anxiety.
Oh, poor Katie.
No, this was Katie. Katie was giving as good as she got. COVID.
Katie.
And then my whole situation was resolved, impeccably.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. Will you be writing it? Well, no, you won't be writing a letter.
I'd like to.
You can do a Google review. Maybe you can do that.
Yeah. Maybe live on air.
No, we're busy.
Okay.
Listen to you type.
But the thing I was going to say...
Yeah. About being old.
We were listening to... No,
that's what started the whole thing off.
Oh, well, I've got something to prove that I'm not old, but I'll bookmark that.
Oh, you got two bookmarks already.
What am I on about? Katie. Oh, yeah, so we're listening to this inane music.
On the telephone?
Yeah, so we're discussing social anxiety, we're talking about running, we're talking about personal training, COVID. Oh, we talked about death a lot. We talked about her nan, who had pancreatic cancer, which I think is to do with sugars. I talked about my dad. Anyway, I said, why don't they teach us 10 Spanish words while we're waiting?
Who?
Nat West. No, just wait on this one. So we're hearing... Dun, 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 dun,
What, Girl from Impanina?
Well, similar sort of on repeat.
Ilk.
Yeah.
Right.
lift music. And I went...
Well, after all, you need some after all that misery. Sorry. Carry on.
You like that one? You hadn't heard that one before.
No, I haven't. Proud of that.
So I said to Katie, why don't they teach us 12 Spanish words? And why not?
Well, Katie went along with it.
Katie thought it was a brilliant idea. And then she said, why don't they get us to do 10 squats? Why isn't there a small personal training?
Why is I'm lost on the Spanish thing?
It doesn't really matter what it is. It's a waste of time. We had 45 minutes. If
Just
Katie hadn't been there,
okay, right.
it would have just been me and the girl from Ipanema.
Yeah.
So,
right.
But if they said, you're number 27 in the queue, hola is hello. Repeat. Recute.
With you now, back in the room, Mark. Back in the room.
Yeah.
Right. I wasn't there, do you remember?
Yeah. I would have learned 10 Spanish words by the end of 45 minutes.
So you got a squat in, did you?
No, but I told her about one of the Eastern Europe companies, I think it might be Slovakia, that has a camera at the bus stops.
Right.
And if you do 10 squats in front of this video camera, it gives out a token for a free bus ride.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm just suddenly thinking, we've got all this time, all this dead, wasted time.
Yeah.
And we're not doing anything. So we sit there waiting for this loop of music to finish. Nat West come in. It could be Monday Spanish, Tuesday French. It could be some facts.
The world's your Langoustine, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Ah.
I mean, I enjoyed the discussion with Katie. So in retrospect,
it wasn't a waste
would have been
of time.
overload.
Yeah, you'd have gone, forget that. I'm having a good old chit chat now.
Yeah.
With Katie, with my best friend Katie.
Yeah.
So when you're doing a podcast with Katie then? Katie this, Katie that, I love Katie.
Well, you were late for this one, weren't you?
What? What do you mean?
5 fucking weeks.
Oh, you've been dying to get that one, haven't you? So, what was I going to do with age? Because I'm still in the intro, if you hadn't have guessed.
Oh, well, this is one of the bookmarks.
Yeah.
I'll read this out from my phone. I have some content on my phone. I'll just sing a song in the meantime. Do, 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 do. Hola, Cerveza. Why do we say Paris and not Paris, but we go Barcelona? Why is it like
no one says whatever you just did? No one does that. Everyone just says Barcelona.
They don't. Well,
what do you? Don't tell me you call it Barcelona. Do you? You do, don't you?
Well, it's
go on. Say it again.
Catalan, isn't it?
Say it again.
No.
Say it again.
No.
Do it.
Not you bitch. Right. Right.
Katie's bitch.
Katie wouldn't put me under this sort of pressure.
No.
So anyway.
I'm not going to edit this, by the way. I was going to say this a little bit later on. I'm not going to edit a thing.
It doesn't have to be edited. It's all pure gold.
Everyone could just feel the pain I feel. You searching through your phone.
Okay, I posted this some time ago. It's a picture of me, shock, with my top off, and a slightly speckled look that looks like a filter, but I think it's actually a low
That's
quality shot.
That's the one I've mentioned that on the pod before. It's not you.
You've not mentioned this.
I have. That's the one I said. It looks like a mannequin. It's so smooth and
the face
rippled.
does look like a mannequin.
It's not even your face, Mark. It could be anybody, and it probably is anybody. It ain't you.
Do you think it's the front?
I've seen your torso, and it doesn't look anything like that.
It's the front of Grace Brothers.
Yeah, it is.
There's a reference for all our Tunisian friends. Big shout out for Tunisia.
Right, yeah. We're big in Tunisia still, which is good.
Yeah. So this had 5 comments. That picture.
I think my mum commented on it, didn't she? This one.
Oh yeah, she said it's good to see you at least with your trousers on.
Knew she did.
So the 5 comments were a boyfriend of one of my daughters who said, nearly as big as me, keep it up. That's ironic. Someone called, mine was
and wrong.
Someone called Chris Crosso, who is someone I set up an Instagram account who does sewing in Ireland, in the Republic. She gave it 2 love hearts, which is like quite racy. That was 36 weeks ago. And
I was going to say, this isn't a new picture.
No, that was 36 weeks ago.
You're still dining out on this.
Well, it was when I was training with Lewis, so it is a picture that means quite a lot now that you've devastated it. And then, Body Fitness Gym.
All right.
Oh, Body Fitness G Gym. That's interesting.
Right. They couldn't get Body Fitness Gym, then there's an extra G in it.
So they're obviously quite a big quite big in the Insta world.
Yeah.
Really so amazing physique, bro. Bicep curl, fat emoji with your hands, meaning.
What, okay, for the listeners?
Oh, yeah, it was okay. So I thought it was, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
They're calling you a wanker. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So definitely your content have potential to get viral. Hands up, flame.
Can't believe you've written that in your own post, Mark. I mean, that's low.
P.S. You're the funny one in the pod. Please send us your best content. Okay.
Right.
So you're thinking. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking this is.
I'm probably going to have to pay $200 to get a grubby picture.
I think you've been hooked in. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Hook, line and sinker. It's a little bit like those Russian women that keep getting onto your I'm Fine cast.
I don't want to have to bring that up. I told you not to talk about that.
So then I went on to Body Fitness G Gym.
Yeah.
And
is this a recent post?
A couple of hours ago.
Oh, right. Well, fresh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like it was made for the pod. And have a little look at the figures at the top. Not the person figures.
What? 1.1 million followers.
Yeah. So
that's not bad when you spell your misspell your username.
Yeah. I have an Instagram account with 1.1 million users wants pictures of my body. They're gagging for it, as they say in a later text.
No, they didn't. So are you going to oblige?
I don't really have very many. But yes, I am. I'm going to send some. Yeah.
You have hundreds of yourself. You take them and then you screenshot them.
I think this
just to back them up.
This is coming up to the age. I think they're going to do a vintage section or...
Oh, is that what the reference is to your age?
Yeah, I reckon because in that post I say that I'm 60. Because I put some very wise words in that post. I'm going to read them as well.
Okay.
I don't want to hog this.
I mean, no.
So I wrote... Oh, God, I'm such a cliche. Each one of us is a complex, unique individual facing our own personal journeys. Turning 60 has made me realise the importance of caring for every element of our being. Love your body and care for it. Respect your mind and feed it. Seek your soul and deepen it.
Sorry, I just did a sick in my mouth.
You should have that in your bathroom.
That's not a piece of wood long enough. You try and find a bit of driftwood that big.
Find a piece of driftwood with the name of that Welsh village on and just tip exit out. Put that quote on top. I didn't realise that was in Anglesey. Just found out the other day.
What, that for the Gok one?
Yeah.
I think I almost did that, didn't I? Almost did the whole thing. Right, we're all work in progress, and this podcast is no exception. In short, it's a poke at our perfectly imperfect lives so that we can make just one person feel like they're not alone in all this madness. But there's no madness anymore, so what we're going to talk about. Then our work here is done. You can connect with us via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. All the channels. By searching for I'm Finecast, all complaints will be directed to our new head of HR and customer care, Mark.
Katie.
She hasn't said a word. Don't forget to subscribe to us and turn on your notifications, as we'll likely be shooting from the hip from now on.
We never know when we're going to pop up.
No, and we're all about the wabi-sabi anyway, aren't we? And remember, there are no straight lines in nature. What?
Probably
there aren't, Mark. Don't even think about it.
Lisa went out with somebody on The Simpsons, and he said he was something like a level 5 vegan. So he won't eat anything that casts a shadow.
Huh?
I know, it's not true. It's not a true programme.
No, I'm just trying to think of that. Have I missed something?
I guess just a flame. A flame when you sign a torch on it.
Right. No idea. There was something on you put on Instagram, though, that I had no idea. Today.
Go on.
It was someone holding a little sign saying, you've been duped. Read it again.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get it at all. Is it one of those ones, if I don't get it, it means I'm really stupid?
Or very clever. Read it out for the listener.
I haven't got it because it's one of your stories and it's disappeared.
Oh, I'll show you. This is going to be a phone special, isn't it? I think this goes down really well. This is what people want.
Have you noticed I haven't got my laptop in front of me?
You've only got one?
Yeah.
Does that mean you're going freestyle?
Yeah.
Is this like you being sort of a naturist?
Yeah. I haven't got my trousers on. But you can't tell because I'm sat behind the table.
Katie, get out from under the table.
She's trying to find my trousers. It's fine.
What was that song? Donald. Donald's where you...
Demo with your trousers.
Okay, so just read it out then.
So it's a guy holding it.
Yeah, go on.
Right, I was going to explain it. But
Explain it and then look, I don't want you looking at it as you explain.
I've read it 1,000 times.
Okay.
It's a bloke holding a sign.
Yes.
And you read it.
Yes.
And I can't remember what it says because you've just taken it away from me.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Yeah, there you go. Read it out.
Think you can't be fooled, ?
Yeah, now what's the bottom bit?
You just read it again.
Right, read it word by word, slowly.
Think you can't.
No. Again, slower.
Oh God, yeah, I haven't seen it
No,
at all. I've just seen it. I've just seen it.
I know.
How did I not see that? I literally read it 20. It says, "Think you can't be fooled."
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'll put that on Instagram. I'd never saw it. I was looking at it at work. Going,
And it's a big old thing. It's not small font.
No.
The U.
I just feel
U is repeated.
I feel really stupid.
No.
No, I do.
Oh, well,
I was looking at that, going, he's gone mad. Well, he hasn't put the second part to this out.
Yeah, typical Mark. Typical shit.
He's made a right fool of himself.
Idiot.
Right.
But that was quite scary because it took me a while.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking that's printed in plain sight.
I feel much better. Don't forget to subscribe. Yes, we're shooting from the hip. I've done that bit, haven't I? So speaking of Twitter, our resident army captain, Captain Stardust, sent us a message during our break.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "How have you done 86 weekly pods over a 52-week period? Spooky. Of course, you are in Mark's parallel universe." He's got a point. And you're the maths man. How did we manage that?
No, you're being ironic, aren't you?
I don't know. I was reading some
we did
some
2 in
feedback.
some weeks, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's simple, really, isn't it?
Mm.
So, how are you, Mark?
Oh, good. I'm excited to be here.
Good. So we haven't been here for a while.
No.
We had a little break, didn't we? What was really encouraging was that our listeners, our listens to the last couple of pods kept on going while we did nothing.
I thought it was a bit like James Dean's films. Everyone watched them when he'd gone.
After he died.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe, yeah, it was quite
or
encouraging.
Artists.
I just thought I could sit down and just keep watching. People are listening,
Keep doing
not
nothing.
doing anything.
Yeah. The figures were disparate. We've had more listened to 2 ago than ones going back
it's mad,
80 weeks. Yeah, it is.
So I think it's been a nice break. I just felt we did try and come back, and I did a bit of a tease on Instagram, so sorry for all those people who were massively excited and then had nothing. But that's the thing I was saying to you. There's only a couple of people we know who have kind of kindly, without prompting, said how much they missed it, and they look forward to kind of hearing from us again, which was really nice. And it is encouraging. It makes you kind of want to do it. Yeah. But you start to go, they're the people I know. And,
because we strangers.
We don't hear from kind of get the violin out. We don't hear from anybody else. So it is nice when people kind of, if they do like it, or if anyone's listening does like it and wants to tell us that they like it, that'd be quite encouraging.
It would, but one of the things...
I didn't think my ego needed it, but I think all of our egos need it sometimes, don't we?
But isn't there something to be learnt here? Because when I finished therapy, I actually said I was really, really pleased with the therapist. I thought she was brilliant, and she said something like, sort of half jokingly, half serious, you can leave a review on, because there's an overarching organisation that she sort of contracts to. Right. And I went, I definitely will. I said, you're the best therapist I had. You've helped me. We've had 34 weeks of fun. And I haven't left that review. And I don't know if I'll thank Katie for being so brilliant today. And she really helped me today. And I didn't ever send an email to Athletico Mints that helped me through the first lockdown, a brilliant podcast. I haven't ever got in touch with the guy on fantasy football time machine thingy. I can't remember the name of that.
Top Flight
Time Machine, thank you. I've been meaning to write to them, and I haven't. So in a way, I'm wondering whether a lot of these podcasts write their own letters, like you've mentioned before. It used to happen on a couple of radio programmes. Or whether...
We've never done that. No. We've never written our own.
No.
Have we?
No. But the point I'm saying
Maybe
is
twice.
We're sort of saying we would like people for our ego or just for people to get in touch. But the reality is I'm a bad offender. There's people I really want to. So even someone like, if I can't make a nice comment about my therapist after helping me, then maybe that's just a
Yeah.
sign of people have good intentions,
Yeah, I
maybe,
think
and
so.
life gets in the way.
And we've kind of got a mutual friend who will text us when you see them, they'll mention something, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
But which I told you about, I had a client I went to see, and we did the meeting.
Yeah.
Just before we finished,
Mm.
he said, you bringing the pod back?
Yeah.
And I was totally taken aback because I didn't think he listened to us.
Mm.
Because he's the coffee man.
Yeah.
Who you insulted on the very first episode. Well, you insulted his coffee, not him personally. However, they're inextricably linked. But it was really nice. And I thought, and I only thought he'd listen to the couple, and he'd listen to every single one.
Mm.
And it was, I didn't expect to get the feeling I did from his response.
Yeah.
And it was really nice.
Yeah.
I didn't think my ego needed massaging until it was massaged. And
Yeah.
that was really nice.
When you told me that story, I found it sort of pleasing on two levels. One was, I thought, for you on a personal level, and secondly, it's almost, when these things start, you tell your friends, and then you tell clients, and then you tell blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm telling my clients, like the PT.
Yeah.
But you haven't gone out to people that you're running businesses for and gone, you might like to listen. And in fact, in some ways, I think you've maybe been quite shy and reserved in the promotion of this. So when someone
that's why I'm not expecting. That's why I'm not being grumpy about. Why doesn't anyone write in? Because I'm not telling anyone about it. But at the same time, it's.
But I think when you told me the story of that client, it was very much, to me, it was almost. I don't mean he didn't have to listen. That's almost.
We didn't have to listen, and after he
didn't have to comment.
He didn't even have to say anything.
No, and I thought that would have pleased me a lot if I'd been in your position.
Yeah,
and
it was good.
Yeah, and also that the client who you've worked with wants to listen. That's quite rewarding. So
it is.
I thought it was lovely of him saying. And I do like the coffee. I think I was just caught unawares.
Yeah, you weren't briefed.
No.
And we're still drinking Dusty Ape coffee. There we are.
Yeah.
Nice little mention. So I think it's been a good time to take a break, hasn't it? Because nothing has happened.
It's been a desert, hasn't
it?
Yeah.
Well, it's not just me then. I was like, nothing's happened.
I thought, what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah. I honestly can't think of a thing that happened in the last.
Katie is about it.
Is it
5 weeks?
Is it 5 weeks?
I don't know. I just threw that figure out. It feels like 5 weeks.
You count everything, Mark. You're like Sesame Street's the count. I like to count. 1, 2, 3. You're not familiar?
Yes, I am. Because Adam sent me a joke about the count the other day.
Yeah, you just looked at me like, what are you doing?
No,
but I think you're like him.
Yeah.
But you just do it in your head. You don't do it out loud like he does with an Eastern European accent.
I tell you, get your phone out a minute. Sorry, I'm
not editing this, remember. That's just dead air.
Just see if this one works. Get your phone out.
Please, for your manners.
Go on to calculator.
Right. Hold on.
And put this sum in.
Okay.
I hope I've got this right.
Okay, go.
Because you're not editing. 3.
Yeah.
Plus 6.
Yeah.
And before you look at the answer, I'm going to now say divide by 2. So what are you expecting to come up?
4.5.
Okay, do it. What's come up?
6.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. I just thought I'd leave that one.
Yeah. All right. Right.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm confused. Hold on a minute, I'm confused.
Or do 6. Well, what?
6 plus.
No, 3 plus 6 divided by 2.
I don't remember it. 3 plus 6
divided by 2. No, don't do the equals.
Well, that's it. Yeah, but that is maths, though, isn't it? I didn't do equals.
I know.
Isn't it like a fraction then or something? Go on, explain. Can you explain it?
I think it's the way it's done is the 6 is divided by 2 in effect, so it's 3 plus 3.
Yeah.
It's almost like brackets around the 6, but
Yeah.
the computer, the calculator does that,
Right.
whereas we would go see it as a sum. But
have you got any more of these?
No, just the one.
Well, you can write boobies with a calculator.
And hello.
And shell oil.
Yeah. And SO. That's spooky, isn't it, with all this climate change?
Isn't it just? Yeah. Anyway, so I thought, right, if we kind of come back and do the pod, things might start happening again. That kind of thing will, like a self-fulfilling prophecy thing, if we start talking about things, they might just happen. Because the other thing we kind of talked about off pod was the fact that you've predicted most of the things that have happened recently.
Yes.
And even people have commented to you, haven't they?
Yes.
Listeners of this.
Called me a soothsayer.
Did they?
Yeah.
So you have forsooth many things that have
I have.
become truths.
I've just noticed as well, which is a coincidence or maybe coincidence not, looking on Twitter just as I drove over. Not as I drove. No, not as I drove, because I can't look at my phone with my eyes shut.
Yes, of course, sorry.
So I said to someone the other day, I'm doing that less, and she went, there isn't gradations of shutting your eyes.
Yeah.
You're
looking at Twitter?
Oh yeah, vitamin D is trending, which is interesting.
Right. That has to be something to do with you.
Guessing.
Yeah. Why did you look at it?
No, I didn't. No. But there is a bit of news. News has started, and this is this is one thing I didn't predict.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to put my hands up. This is beyond satire. I didn't see this. Matt Hancock.
Oh, I remember him.
He's been given a job to basically run Africa.
What?
He's been given a job
to run Africa. That isn't even a job.
It is.
That's not a job.
Bill Gates has given him a job to basically run Africa.
For him?
Just
Bill Gates?
Just for the world. Just for the world.
Right. That's not even a job.
And Matt Hancock tweeted the letter that had introduced him, and one of the things basically said, you were so brilliant with the vaccines, we think you'd be very good doing vaccines in Africa and sorting out their economy.
Has he done what we did and written his own letter?
He's got it. He's doing it. Seriously. This has literally just come out today. It's the maddest thing in the world, because he's basically been in bed with Bill Gates for 2 or 3 years.
Oh, he can't help himself, that boy, can he? Why, he's moved on quick, hasn't he, from his secretary? He's just gone for the sugar daddy.
Yeah.
Right, so the things you have predicted, Mark.
Go on then, fine.
What were they again? I've had a lovely break. I haven't thought about shit for 5 weeks. Honestly.
I've done the odd deep dive, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was relying on your...
So what I think...
So we talked about cyber security.
Yeah.
That's been quite hot of late, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, nothing's happened of late. So nothing has happened like I don't know, Facebook going down.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to do with cyber security, but questionable in terms of the leak from the lady who used to work at Facebook. She's got, hasn't she?
Well,
to come and do that. I mean, So right, I've been working in a job. I haven't had a proper job for years. So maybe I was working for someone, and I spent all afternoon downloading all the copies of all the documents onto my little hard drive. Right. Then I left and I went to the newspapers. I would be in so much shit. Not before very long. My feet wouldn't touch the floor, and I'd be in court, wouldn't I? Basically, corporate theft. Right, and I'd probably get jail time. So she's come out and to the world gone, I've stolen tens of thousands of documents, and I'm going to slag off my former employer. Yep. And I'm going to be hailed as a hero.
That's because Facebook wanted her to do it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
How do you know?
So, if you think it
Are you
through...
in bed with Zuckerberg? Well, everyone's in bed with someone.
Oh.
What?
Okay, this is going off piece. I apologise for this. I didn't put this up. I'm trying to reduce the amount of COVID-related stuff I put up, just because it's boring. But it is getting... The one I've just posted today is like off the scale scary.
That's the Australia one. I was going to come to that.
Yeah, we'll come to that in a minute. But the other one is... And I didn't post this just because I really, really am trying not... There's almost too much.
I'm relying on you for this. You know I am.
Yeah. So the latest one is... and I've got pictures of this. They're putting in mannequins. You know they had...
We're talking about mannequins. This is all beautifully done.
Yeah. You know they had crisis actors.
Oh, yes.
And everyone's going...
For the adverts for the BBC and the NHS and stuff.
I died 4 times, but then I had the vaccine and now I've got a role in Hamlet. And then you would sort of go, this guy's a crisis actor. So they've got over the fact that they were placing people. So they're now putting in mannequins.
Into the films?
Yeah.
How's that work?
And then on a couple of them...
He's really poorly. He hasn't moved for months.
A couple of people have like zoomed in and it's a mannequin. It's like one of them looks like those CPR mannequins you get.
Well, it's just a torso.
Yeah. And
he came in with all the limbs.
But yeah, there's loads, there's dozens of them. And there's one, and this guy this mannequin is like sort of got wires coming out of everything, and it's meant to be in Canada, because obviously Canada's up there with Australia.
Yeah.
And someone made the point that it is against the law to take a picture of someone in COVID, even if their family goes, that's fine, go and take a picture of them, whilst they're in a coma. You can't have a press corps going in and going,
It's just
it's not really right. But when you look at the photos, it's just this plastic face. It's not even a good mannequin. He has no hair, has plastic hair. I'll show you the photos afterwards.
Because you get those mannequins that don't really have a face.
Yeah.
They just got like
just moulded. So,
but you're not allowed to take pictures. I mean, you shouldn't really take pictures of anyone sleeping, really. Coma, just normal sleep.
No.
It's a bit low, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything against the rules, unless you're on private
I
property.
think basically you can't go into a
house
hospital while someone's in an induced coma.
and take a photo
Take
of
a
them.
picture, not even a mannequin.
I think that sounds fair.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So back to predictions. The cybersecurity has happened, but it hasn't been quite. But it has happened in loads of places. There's loads of things being hacked. There's loads of blackmailing going on, isn't there?
Yeah.
And then my second thing was, because the Great Reset said, we'll have a pandemic, we will have cybersecurity, and then we'll have
climate
change. And the climate change at the moment is
anything going on about that? I haven't heard anything. What? I've been on holiday. I've had a lovely time.
I read something that said the amount of energy produced by the wind turbines was down 20% because there'd been hardly any wind. And I was thinking today, it's been really settled.
Yeah, it's been nice.
And they went, scientists are wondering if that's something to do with climate change. But we were told last month there was going to be terrible storms.
Yeah.
And now it's, perhaps there's no wind. It's just, anyway. But that was in the Great Reset. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, you will own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
I don't know if we covered in this the latest one about John Lewis getting into the housing market.
Yeah, we did touch on that.
Oh, yes, because they own that village.
That's right.
Yeah.
The village?
Yeah, they own a village.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I knew they were
Hampshire.
going. I knew they were. Of course they do. Of course it's Hampshire. It's not Rotherham or you know what I mean, Burnley. Of course it's Hampshire.
And if the house is one of the houses in the village, they own nearly the whole village. But if it's owned, you have to do it John Lewis Green, the front door.
Okay.
It's very Stepford Wives, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, it is a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else did you predict, Mark? Can you remember?
I've failed on a couple.
That's okay.
The vitamin D, I've said that government were doing research, and about this time of year, I said October, November time, there'll be a sudden surge on actually, maybe I should have read what it said in Twitter. But I said there'll be a surge because suddenly they're going to realise with no sunlight, they can't, now the vaccine has been done, they can't go, vitamin D is going to save the world. Yeah. But what they want is probably more positive outcomes. So they might go, it won't harm having a bit of vitamin D.
Yeah.
The ivermectin thing
is
still, the jury's out on that, but there's been massive amount of talk on that.
Yeah, and there's an odd one, that, isn't it? How people go, it's a horse sedative, how can you possibly... It's like, but there's loads of drugs, isn't there, that we develop for humans, but animals use them.
I think aspirin, I think, goes for both.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it?
Well, they won a Nobel Prize for curing river blindness in tens of millions of people in Africa. They won a Nobel Prize for ivermectin. Yeah. And then they worked out it could help horses.
Like a sedative for it's not a sedative, is it? If it was medication for...
It works on parasites within animals.
Okay, so what if it was like a different animal? Do you think we'd be a bit more accepting?
What, than horses?
If it worked, I don't know, puppies or... kittens. Make kittens better. Do you think we'd all be, taking more of it? It's just horses, isn't it?
It's a bit like ketamine, isn't it? That works
It's
both
like when everyone found horse meat in their lasagna, they went mental, didn't they?
Yeah.
Absolutely mental. Don't just thought.
Yeah. Don't know what other predictions, if there's any non-COVID ones.
Building back better, eh?
Oh, building back better. Yeah, that's a good one. That got to ridiculous extremes, didn't it?
Yeah. Less said about that, the better. So how's your break been? Have you? I mean, I wouldn't say you've enjoyed your break because you've kind of missed this, haven't you? I haven't, but it doesn't mean I don't like doing it.
No.
As you know, that's not news to you. But I've actually kind of enjoyed not thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I think our kind of last pods were talking about positivity.
Yes.
And we've talked a lot about, well, in those last few particularly, but over all of the podcasts about overwhelm and stress and anxiety and that kind of thing. We've talked about small steps, how we can try and combat that ourselves, reading around what other people are doing to try and achieve the same goals. I think all I tried to do, I guess without thinking about it too much, was kind of get rid of the stuff that I felt was causing the overwhelm. Like
the sort of extraneous stuff?
Well, no, but this isn't really. I wouldn't call this extraneous. Extraneous. Is it the same word?
Yeah, it could be.
Just extraneous. No, I didn't really think too much of it, but planning this and thinking about this a lot, and I think getting my head in the news, and being plugged in, got to me. Mm-hmm. Not just got to me in its own right, but then bringing it here and try to make sense of it, and pick through it and try to kind of create a rounded argument, read into it. So I had at least a little bit of knowledge rather than as I did earlier, misreading something. But I haven't really, especially in the last couple of weeks, I haven't really watched the news. I haven't kind of been plugged into, I haven't gone onto Twitter and hit search and gone, right, what's trending, and have a good old dig. I just haven't done it. Because you just lose hours in all that. And watching the news, if you kind of watch like ITV and Channel 4 back to back, very different viewpoints, pretty much the same stuff. But you come out of it just going, just despair. Yeah. Not necessarily kind of depressed. There's things that are depressing, they're upsetting. And there's some things that are just mad.
But it's beyond satire now. That's the difficulty for me. I was thinking back in the day, back in my youth, we had power cuts. Yeah. And we would run out of electricity. Yeah. And you would get in the evening, or the paper would come out and it would go, in your area, there won't be any electricity between these times. And it became almost a bit of a thing. You'd get your candles and you'd sit and you'd talk, or because you didn't really have any other options. And I'm thinking, imagine, and that's when you only had 3 channels on the TV and you had fuck all else to do. So watching a candle was just as good as the telly. And but I'm thinking now, if they said, right, there is going to be, to save, because in some countries now they are having planned, I think it was, I'm not going to name the countries because I might get it wrong, but there's several where they've basically run out of fuel and gone, you won't be able to. Even in China, there's quite a few light things in Beijing, like light shows and stuff that they're now not having at the nights, just to try and, not just to save energy. Right. But the point I think I was going to say was that when that happened back in the time, the world seemed such a simple place. And if you watch the TV, and I think we've discussed this before, when unemployment and inflation were both really high, they would be on the news and go, there was a satire done of it on a comedy show, basically going, we've lost 500 jobs in a car plant and a steel plant is shut down. But the scale of things now, there's 1 million vacancies. There's shops not able to open because they don't have anybody to do the work. And we've got 68 million people. Yeah. And I know a lot have gone back to Europe. We've got
lots of people out of work, but more vacancies than we've ever had. Yeah. You think, those should just join up in the middle somewhere, right?
Yeah. But it's almost, but it isn't talked about on the news. Like, it's almost, the problem is there's too many vacancies. And I'm thinking exactly your point. Well, is it because the wages are so low there's no incentive to do it? Yeah, right. These are all the jobs that people from Europe filled because the indigenous race didn't want to do those jobs.
Yeah. I think of all sorts, isn't it?
Yeah, but I just find it's every time you watch the news, there isn't like little news anymore.
No, and I think it was more like, things don't, as we've all kind of discussed, they just don't add up, don't make sense. No. The common sense committee is needed more than ever. Yeah. Because some of the things you just look and go, well, surely that shouldn't even be a thing. If someone with half a brain cell just came in and took a look at it, and you kind of just, I don't know, it's that kind of sense of injustice and the sense of stuff isn't going to get fixed, and then all that. I just thought, I had to start focusing on the things I can control.
Yeah, which is what we've talked about. Yeah.
So I can control this, and as much as I like doing it, it was, and I've talked about kind of, flamethrower to my diary and other things, and it was a little bit like that. But I think it was good that we did do it. But it was nice to have a run of not thinking about it. Mm-hmm. Although I missed it, I I realised how much time I thought about it when I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
And that was a real holiday.
And I think the control thing is the big element, because I know my mental health is probably a bit wobbly at the moment, shock. And I think part of it is that my infatuation with knowledge or stats or information. And there was two very quick things I wanted to say. One was, this was on the news today, and this, I took a step back when I heard this, because we get all the headlines of this is really bad, or this is, like we've run out of petrol. We didn't. They created. Yeah, sure. But there was a guy on today who was being advertised, and basically this was on the news, and the article started with something like, people shouldn't panic buy. However, we're now going to talk to Mr. Simpson, who runs something. It was a big toy chain, and he was really, really laid back and almost dry in his sense of humour. And they said, what should we be doing about toys? And he said, if you come in December, there won't be as many as normal, and they're going to cost you a packet.
Right.
And the interviewer went, why is that? Why are you putting up prices, sort of thing? And he went, let me show you something. And he was his delivery was great. It was like, I'm just going to be so calm. I'm not trying to get you into my shops in November by telling you they're empty. I'm just going to tell you something. So he got a Tonka toy, which was a big yellow tipper truck that probably about 7 or 8 year old boy, because it was obviously aimed towards the boy market. God, straight away I'm jumping into dangerous territory. And he said, let me give you an example. This toy cost me 70p a unit to import from China last year.
Right.
This year, it costs me £7 per unit. And I sell it for $15.99.
Wow.
Before I even buy the toy, the delivery is £7 for this one toy. So he said, when these toys finally come in, he goes, I haven't got any at the moment, but when they finally come in, I've got to find £6.30 and either put that on the price or I bear the brunt of some of it. And the interviewer probably didn't expect it, and they went like, that's 10 times. And he went, everything in this shop from China is costing 10 times what it did this time last year. And we're hearing inflation is like 4.5%, and we're going, it isn't. So here's my next prediction. There's going to be rampant inflation, which will mean that the government can bring in anything it wants in terms of policies, because once you get rampant inflation, everything's going to go, to hell in a handcart. When you've got high unemployment as well, it's quite because there's less taxes coming in and everything's going to cost more. But £7 for one toy.
That's nuts. I was even surprised it was 70p.
God.
They were doing all right, weren't they? Margins. Weren't they?
You should get Amazon to deliver it. Buy all the stock from Amazon. On Prime.
Where were we?
You were talking about that although you missed the pod to a degree, you didn't miss, I think, what you're saying, I'm going to say trauma, that's too big a word, but the complications that thinking about this.
So I think kind of removing stuff that was clearly bothering me and clearly taking up my time or just things about, I guess I got rid of them. Pod was the obvious one. Then the news stuff kind of then petered after that, because I didn't feel I had to be kind of, in the know, so to speak. And I definitely felt a lot better for it. And I thought, right, I've got to concentrate. What are the things I've got to concentrate on that I enjoy and I have to do? So work is one of them. And it was probably kind of motorbikes was the other one, because that's the thing I'm really enjoying. That's the thing I need. And it was just kind of taking me, I don't know, those are my focus. In terms of the health stuff, which we talked about on our sessions, haven't we? Simple things of just trying to drink more water, because I don't do that very well. Probably the easiest thing we can all do when it's coming out the tap so fresh and delicious. Was that as well from a health point? Obviously, I've kept training and that kind of thing, and that's kind of it really. And just try to get through each day, not kind of try to throw anything else in, and it's starting to work.
But I think this podcast has only come back because I would have jumped in at any stage. Even by my standards, I feel I've been fairly reserved in terms of not putting pressure on. You sort of know what I say without me having to say it.
Yeah.
But I've seen a gradual change in various elements of you over the last week, 10 days. And I think the last session, it was like, how are things? They're good. And it was like, work is
I think you almost fell
good.
over.
Yeah. You were just like showing off, weren't you? I'm crying in a corner.
Yeah, you gave me your number 1 mug, didn't you?
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
That's okay.
I know how much that means to you.
Yeah.
You did tell me not to break it.
Yeah.
Quite forcefully.
Yeah.
Which I almost did because I was so panicky.
Yeah. That was too much pressure.
So it's kind of, I guess, back to the positivity bit, because you wanted to kind of talk about that and have a bit of a kind of theme. Obviously, having a break's been good, and we've all had a chance to think about stuff, and coming back and doing this in a slightly different way. But you were talking about positivity on Tuesday, in terms of yesterday.
Yeah.
In terms of having something that we kind of, one thing that we kind of go away from.
Yeah. I mean, 2 things came to my mind. I think when we've discussed the pod, we admitted that in the sort of early 80s, not the years, the pods, we went in quite a dark place where...
Yeah.
And as you said, and the same as me, I haven't listened back to those. I've listened once, but I haven't gone back and thought, I wonder what we were talking about, because I know we were getting in too deep. And I wonder whether the listening figures on the positivity, because I think sometimes it has to be word of mouth.
Yeah.
I think there has to be, if we're having, in a short space of time, almost double or at least 50% more listening to the stuff on positivity than in our dark period, like impressionism. So I feel maybe let's keep that role going. But there's 2 things that really had a positive effect on me. One is, and I hate it when podcasts do this, but I'm going to do it anyway, seeing the listening figures in Tunisia and Finland. That somehow, because it's a different country, and I'm guessing a lot of the people, or a number of the people, aren't listening in their first language. Yeah. I visualize what are those people listening to? 2 very, very different countries and different cultures. Where. Yeah. How and where, and what are they getting from it? And that's what made me think that I wonder if the positivity is that some of those things are universal. That if we go with a takeaway, and even if it's as, not inane, but as minimal as drink more, or, whatever. Is it the fact that in different cultural things, people are going, actually, I've just grabbed a little something from that. So I think that was what I wanted to try and to cultivate. Yeah. And the other thing was on the BPD, and seeing the numbers on the first BPD and also the second and third ones that we did. And just recognising that those numbers are way beyond. Yeah. And that has to be word of mouth. That has to be people have listened and said to somebody, I haven't looked for about a week or so.
That's the difficult thing with these stats. In a day and age, we're surrounded by stats, particularly at work. And we pretty much know where things are coming from. In the podcast world, no idea. No. It's complete darkness in terms of who, why, the referrals.
Yeah.
Where's it?
Yeah.
It's impossible. It's just listens and downloads. That is it. That's all we got. It's really difficult, but it is encouraging for sure. Yeah,
and I thought, well, those are the things that, and I know it can be funny talking about retro sweets, and I know it's funny or not funny, but it can be informative talking about some of the things we talked about. But I think if we're coming back and going to be a bit sharper and a bit more focused on the mental health, exactly what you said there is like, that's almost the takeaway already. You took a bit out. You had, to use the parlance, a reset, saying, I'm going down too deep. I can't, I'll let Mark do it. But for my own sanity, I'm going to you said to me the other day, you haven't watched the news for a certain number of days.
And been busy enough at work to get back and go, God, I haven't looked at Instagram today. That's quite a treat, actually.
Yeah.
Just get back, ooh. And most of my feed is motorbikes, kittens and drums, and people falling off any one of those things or all of those things at any one time.
People falling off kittens.
It's hilarious.
Niche.
But that is literally my feed. And it's finding, when you're struggling to find joy in stuff, the other thing I've kind of picked up is it doesn't matter where you find joy. Even if it's in somewhere that probably doesn't align with someone else's joy or day, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we all live in dynamics, personal relationship dynamics, work dynamics, all those kind of things. If you kind of, and I was saying this to my therapist this week, and I was saying it's not quite not giving a shit, but and we all talked about focusing on ourselves, and we hear it all the time. But I don't think any of us really do that enough, and it isn't selfish. It's those things where doesn't matter whether it's a coffee in a park, or riding my motorbike, or whatever it is we do, or sprinting, whatever it is, and it doesn't matter how long it takes, where it is, how it really impacts anybody else, as long as it's not detrimental to anyone's health, of course, your own and other people's, and it brings you joy. Then just focus on that, and that's kind of what we've talked about it, and I've always found it really difficult to do. You know, you kind of go, I want to do that, but that's going to impact somebody else. And then, you know, and it looks like I'm not thinking about them in that situation because it's all just about me.
Yeah.
I think if we can kind of lose that, it's okay. I think a lot of us try and do things to please other people. And actually that you end up obviously not pleasing yourself, but ultimately you realise you're not actually pleasing that person either.
No, I get you.
So if the overall outcome is both people aren't getting what they want, or one individual isn't getting what they want, just go and do the thing that you want to do. Yeah. Even if the outcome is I've done the thing I want to do and I've got joy from it, but someone else or someone, you know, is in a piss or didn't like it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If the outcome's always someone else doesn't like it,
well, you can't please all the people all the time.
Yes, you might as well just go, I might as well just get my joy.
But there's really, it's interesting you said that. It's a hard
shift. It sounds really simple. We've talked about it before, and we're probably not great at doing that for ourselves.
No, but it came across to me something similar to, in parallel with what you're just saying, because I hadn't realised this until we started talking. My Insta story today had a kingfisher on.
Yeah.
And I hadn't even thought till we were saying about coming full circle. But grasping what you're saying now, this was a light bulb to me, because the wording I put with that picture of the kingfish was something like, you don't see kingfishers on TikTok.
Yeah.
And the point I was making is that opportunity would not have been available to me if I'd been sitting inside watching. It is amazing.
TikTok?
Yeah. TikTok, yeah.
The ironic thing was you put that on TikTok.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
I didn't, no. The point I was making, which is in running in parallel, not exactly what you're saying, but running in parallel, is that seeing that kingfisher and having that walk was self-care. But it had a dual purpose, because not only did I see something really beautiful, and the whole walk was a beautiful walk, it was gorgeous, and it was so still today, and someone said something to me. I just moved to one side because their daughter was on a little scooter, and I made a real big effort to get out of the way, and she said, oh, thank you for that, and then she stopped and said, I really appreciate that. And I just made a big gesture.
Did you dive over a wall or something? What did you do?
I was just elaborate. I just like, it's like Sir John Gielgud. It was just like, oh my God, I'm moving out to the pavement, darling.
After you, my darling, I'm sorry, I was in your way.
Instead of pushing her into the gutter.
Yes, you know.
No, I think what it was is that I literally had to step off the pavement and into someone's drive because her daughter was all over the pavement. Right. And I think some people, if they'd had their head down, because I deliberately didn't take my headphones, so that would make me really happy. The point I'm making is that this is the double bonus. I saw the kingfisher. I had a lovely walk. I was mindful for the first time in weeks, and I saved myself from all the shit on TikTok.
Yeah.
So it was two things. Yeah. So the self-care, looking after yourself, has also made me avoid a negative.
I think it's that it's like the idea of, it's a bad analogy, but it's when I don't like decorating. But the idea of decorating is worse than the actual decorating. Once you got into your overalls and you've done all the prep and you crack the tin open and you start painting, you're off to the races, aren't you?
Yeah. Or paid someone, in my case.
Yeah.
I always think it's going to be really tricky. But
counted out the £20 notes. Yes. But once you've kind of got over that, you just got over that little bit of effort. We've talked about this a lot, training and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
and you realise that actually it's a disproportionate outcome, a beneficial disproportionate outcome for actually a very small amount of effort, which we're all trying to achieve in life. And I think the overwhelm was probably I was getting things the wrong way around, focusing on the wrong things, letting some of the wrong things in, and having just no positive joy output at all. Whereas I've just kind of actually done some really simple things, like and someone might go, well, you buried your head in the sand. And it's like, I don't see it as that. I've just chosen not to engage in it. They're very different things. Choosing not to engage in something and burying your head in the sand are very different things.
Yeah, it's a very active role.
It's not all, I know there's some nasty shit going on. But it's like, well, how much of that can I control? I'm not going to be so ignorant as to not kind of tune in when I need to.
Yeah.
And respond to things when I need to, or support other people if I'm asked to. But other than that, I go and find my little bits of joy, your kingfisher and whatever, So I think that's really helped in terms of positive. I don't know how long it'll last.
No,
I like to, what I mean?
5 weeks or the next one.
Exactly, next. Yeah, but
it's how to keep listeners, isn't it? We'll be back
at some
when
point.
Damien fucking grows up.
It grows a backbone.
But yeah, just one thing I was going to ask you when we had the discussion on this, I wanted to say at one stage, I wanted to describe or explain something to you without going should. And some of the barriers for coming back and doing the pod, I think I sort of made mention that they were self-imposed to a degree, in that there was elements of, I don't do jobs well. My sister has just come round with finishing the sale of my dad's house, and we need to clean the rooms. And after the room had been 3/4 cleaned, I left the room. And she chased it and she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing another room. And she went, we haven't finished this room. I said, I've had enough. And then by the time she got to the next bedroom, I was downstairs. And the point I was saying was that some of your self-imposed structures were about doing the job properly, whereas I don't. And I think that was causing you consternation about, I'm not going to do it unless I can do it properly. Whereas you seem to have, I'm not saying you're not going to do things properly, but you just seem to have been able to relax a little bit and go, not everything has to be that intense.
That. And the idea that all I've thought about is I'm just going to sit down, hit record and go. That's literally, I haven't got any notes or anything.
No.
We had a brief chat yesterday, but that I've forgotten everything from what we talked about. So that's as far as I've got, and that's kind of, I think it's helped. I've no idea what we've just talked about, but I'm not going to edit it. I'm just going to stop in about 30 seconds. And
how long have we been talking?
Hour. That'll be an hour.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
No.
It would just come up to 59 minutes. I'm literally not going to touch it. I'm going to top and tail it, and that's it. It's going to go out.
Didn't we say it was going to be about 30? Seriously, an hour?
Yeah, well, we do. We waffle on, don't we?
God, no, that's good.
What?
I'd listen to this.
Well, hopefully we can.
Yeah.
You had a bookmark. There's another Katie shout out. Or was there not? That's what you said at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. It was...
Is it as good as the first Katie shout out? If it's not, I don't want to hear it.
It's not as good, but it's maybe relevant as a nice tie-in. Amelia's been doing some emails in a similar way that James Smith does them, but not with the hard sell of James Smith. Yeah. And she puts out about 3 a week, and I've really enjoyed them. She nicked something from one of our earlier pods, which which was...
I bet that was massive for her, wasn't it? I mean, she's got loads
admitting
of...
to it?
No, not that. Just as in loads of engagement from her clients.
I think it was the stuff, wasn't it, about doing a shout out or giving a bit of kindness to 3 people and then timesing that up.
All the things you talked about at the beginning of this that you haven't done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll come to that. But go on.
I hadn't read the email hadn't gone out, and I had seen somebody training with Amelia, and it's one of the few clients who we've both trained. I haven't trained this particular woman very much, but I trained her right back in the early days. And very determined woman, and a very and she's got a lot going on in her life, but she's kept a real consistency. And Amelia put up a video of this woman doing an exercise, and I sent a direct message going, you look really good, but I sent it to Amelia by mistake,
Oh, right.
thinking it was the woman who had posted it, you know, when Amelia sort of reposts.
Yeah, with you.
And Amelia went, very nice to say, but you sent it to the wrong person. She said, but please
Send it.
send it
Yeah.
to her.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, of course I will. And it's like Amelia going, yeah, you won't. So I did. And I was thinking very carefully about, she's 26 and I'm 60. And it's like, you still got to be very careful as like, you know, you look fit as fuck. You know, you've got to have some barriers. So I just put something like, you look really good in that video. And I thought it's a compliment, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's not creepy. Yeah. And I think some of the emojis afterwards, maybe in retrospect.
The old whoa emoji.
27 aubergines, yeah. And so I said that, and literally she got back within like about 8 seconds and said, oh, thank you, you're so kind. And Amelia just said, you know, not in terms of confidentiality, she said she would really appreciated that. And suddenly I got that flurry of what we were talking about on some of the pods that I think it helps to just reinforce
definitely.
a few nice words. It
Yeah.
took 20 seconds. I felt better because she said thank you and appreciated it.
Yeah.
So if we are going to stay on this positive tip, I think it's almost just a reiteration of what we said before. It's the simple things.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't have to be the massive gestures.
No. No.
So yeah. So that was another Katie. That was where.
No, very good.
Okay.
So when's Nat West Katie coming on the pod then? Do you think she's up for it?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Sounds like right hoot.
Here's accountability. I will.
Follow
write.
up
I will
with her,
follow up
yeah.
and I will write to her branch manager.
Right.
And
We'll
say,
drop the link in. Say you're all over this pod, Katie.
yeah, I'll put it to the letter. Yes, I'm writing on behalf of I'm Finecast, the podcast.
Yeah, this is her. This could be the letter to her. Just that you've just said how amazing she was. Just send the pod to her and go.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at writing anything or even calling people, but I'm good at talking into a microphone
Yes.
and hiding from the world. So here's my letter to you,
Rudy.
Rudy.
Yeah.
What is
The
it?
specials.
What? All right. So that was your kind of nickname for yourself.
It is in Nat West Kingswood branch. It's fucking Rudy.
Here comes Rudy.
Katie, come by. Okay.
All right.
Good.
So we'll come back and do this again, shall we?
I've really enjoyed this.
Good. Glad.
Have you?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm a bit panicky. I'm going to put it out without an edit, but let's just do it, right?
Freestyle.
Yeah. Cool. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.